So we are in Parshas Noach. Parshas Noach is Tamim, not Tamim. Noach is tzaddik, Tamim hoy b'deresef. Noach again had tzaddik, and he was complete in his doros, and there's different interpretations of that. If he was for his generation, or if he was in another generation, he wouldn't have been. But let's just go with that. For his generation at that time, he was the tzaddik, which means that he was the centerpiece of that was holding everything together. The centerpiece is that as everything is spinning, everything is moving around, everything is um, tornado. There is the center of the eye that is holding. He's the yesod, the foundation of creation. He's the foundation of creation of everything. Tzaddik Tum Tzaddik. It's the bottom because Olam Asiyah, the world, the planet that we are in, the reality rather, the reality which creates the planet. It all serves the what we need. The reality that we are in is he was the centerpiece. He was delivering. He was the satellite dish that was transmitting the ratzon of creator, the will of creator. Everything is driven by the will. So without getting too fancy, how does creator speak? How does he move? No movement, no speaking. Just let's go. Just the ratzon, just the will. It's that magnetic field that that is that we are forced in it. We're being held by gravity, but that gravity ultimately is created because we're in a relationship with the constant. We're pulling the energy. We're pulling the supply from creator, which is constantly flowing. And based on how we are open or closed, like a track system, which one moves into the other. Based on that, that's how we receive. That's how we receive the message, the light, and ultimately, yeah, the more aligned we are, and ultimately these tracks are also set up in a way of based on the mission that we have, as we spoke about, that time is created by when it's transmitting the message from the light, which the light has in the DNA. It has a message from Creator. That's how He speaks to us, and then He speaks to the prophet face to face. Different levels of prophecy, how He communicates, and they are more face to face with His Creator. But Noach was Ish Tzaddik. He was the centerpiece of the time. He was holding it together. So, what does that mean? Where the question is, where do we live? Are we living, as time is concerned? Are we living in seconds? We're living in minutes, or are you living in the week, or the tzaddik lives in the century, the decade, um, and Elof Shana Kem Esmo, says David HaMelech, and tell them that 1,000 years in Atzilus is like one day. It's one blink of an eye. That's a thousand years, which means that we are like little cartoons that is just put together of one paper that's moving next to the other paper, rather than being a 3D movie. That's what we're trying to get. But the question is where we're living, which means that if one is living in the second, then everything is a stuckness. Everything is a hurdle. Everything is a problem. Everything is taken personal and it's blown out of proportion because the energy just keeps just like a balloon, that these little tiny balloons that you have to put a lot of power to open it up, and then it opens up, like it just goes way more than it has to, like there's a push. So the same way is the flow of this coil that's coming down. And if we are living in the second, then we just keep inflating and sometimes busting, inflating and busting. That's exactly what it busts. This bubble, this clip of open, it inflates and it busts, and sometimes it doesn't bust and it stretches, and now it's like a balloon that was already used many times, and now you want to blow it up, and it just stretched. It doesn't have the same strength. And it means that now it's just becoming like a heaviness and a drag, and it's wet. It's like carrying wet towels. So where we're living, we're living in the seconds. We're living in so hamachalish b'tuva b'chol yom tamid. Every um, with this kindness, he's machalish. He creates b'chol yom, every single day, tamid, consistently. Consistently means wherever you are. If you're living in the second, you're being created in the second. Every second is another step. Every step that you take, it's another expression of you showing up. Just like the old timeouts that have the character that was moving wasn't really moving the way it looks like now when we play these more advanced games, but it's like a timeout when you press on the glass, you see all the movements there, and then it just flash, flash, flash as you move, whatever whichever direction you move, it flashes and it shows up there. So depending on where we're living, you're living in the second, in the hour, or in the week, or in the year. At least you can see the bigger picture, and the bigger picture you see, the more removed one is from the chaimer, from living in the second, which is absolute separation. And the more you remove yourself, the more you are living in a vibration of oneness rather than separation. And in oneness there is peace, there is dvekas, there is connection. If I'm connected to my creator, and based on the more clean the mind and the heart and the body is, the less interference there is of how the pipe is made, what the pipe is made out of, how many voices, how many funnels it has to go through until you receive the message, which can be a complete different message with the time you receive it. It may look like pain rather than your shefa, because it's coming through broken phone. But the more we go into oneness, the more we go into acceptance, let's just say, the more we can receive that message directly um, from our Creator, which is, this is Geula. That's what we're talking about. So that's the Beis Hamikdash. That is the Beis Hamikdash Shel Eish, Beis Hamikdash Shel Fire. But understanding that in whatever level it is, every step that you take, you are there's a new creation there. There's a new creation. That's the best word I can find. I want to say evolution. No, it's not evolution. It's just a new creation. You just like in the timeout, you're flashing in a new space. You're not moving. You're just flashing, flash, flash, flash. And the more, and one is the less flash, and the more smooth there is, the more things go easily, and it's more benichas, and it's more from a place of peace and calmness, because it's in connection, it's in flow, rather than separation. So that we experience less pain and less disappointments and shortcomings. And based on the tafkid that we need, that we have, based on the tafkid that one has, based on the mission that you signed and you agree to, that's the type of character the person shows up. If it's this, that, whatever is the trait is, whatever tafkid is, that's the type of body we take on, and that's what keeps creating. And every step that we take, there is a new creation, there's a new opportunity that we're stepping into, a new creation that we're stepping into, and now we have choice to how we want to create in that space. And just because you created in this space, and then you're stepping out, it's like, well, I saw and I understood and I was present, and it didn't really help me. Now I'm a few steps away, I'm back home, and I'm back to my chaos. Don't get discouraged, because remember, you're stepping in from oneness into separation. So now all you have to do is bring that oneness into the space that you're at, and that may be easier said than done. That's the work, that's your tafka, and that's the creation you're taking on. That's the responsibility of that's the mission you're taking on for what the light is transmitting of the will of Creator. And with every move, this is massive. This is the most complex, amazing system there is, which everything is electronically connected, and every step that one takes, you're being guided and held and communicated with stars, millions of stars and worlds, because it's a massive power generator. It's not just a battery car. This is a massive machine. It has intelligence. It has feelings. It eats. It digests. It's connected with others. It feels and it doesn't feel. It's made numb or not. So going into to communicating with that, and when we come in from the new year, which everything of the old was deleted. Remember, the light was went back to its source, which means that whatever conflict was in conflict with, whatever it was holding on to, whatever twistedness there was, and it was drawing from the other side, from the power of the light that wanted to express its truth. So it was basically, that's called Yanike Chetzenam, which is the lies drawing from the truth, because he's just in conflict with what wants to be expressed, and that's what gives it life. So when this light goes back into its source, the conflict, the klippa dies because it has not nobody to fight with. It has nobody. So its all existence is to be in conflict with somebody. And if nobody's giving it conflict, it dies. It dies out. That's the new year. And the forgiveness is that we are changed. Our bodies are upgraded and changed in the tracks and the way it's carved out. So now we don't have to go back to our old way of creating, how I used to think. I actually have a new body and I can now create something else, creates a new reality. And that is the sukkahs David Hanefalas, the sukkah from David HaMelech that fell down because we went into Galus, which means that, as we said, change the sukkah. If you don't like where you are, going to a different sukkah. What does it mean? Everything is a sukkah, which means that there's always the makav above us. There's always a light and energy above us that as we are thinking, it sends the message, and then you receive through that makav, through that schach, you receive back the message. And based on what your schach looks like, that's the message you're going to get, distorted and choppy and in separation. So changing the sukkah is that we're changing the way we receive and the way the message goes out. I'm davening, I'm connecting from a deeper place. And now that we are in the new year, all these oisias and all the tefillas and the feelings and the simcha that we generated, and now we're coming back and we're communicating with that new possibilities, which no other creation has that ability to take. With every step it takes, it can create new, because everything is called oimed. The animals are oimed. Everything is, they're stuck in their role of what they have, what's holding them in place, as we're all, for the need that they need to serve on the world, on earth. For what purpose? What's guiding their purpose? What's guiding their purpose? There's a higher purpose, and then the ultimate purpose is the tzaddik. The tzaddik is that's the yesod, and that's the aleph. That is in the center of the world, because that is the message of the will and the desire of the Creator, the thing that created everything. That's what he wants. He wants Lashon HaKodesh. He wants a Yid. He wants Shabbos. He wants Tefillin. He wants whatever else comes with it, purity, Taras Mishpacha. So deep separation. We're deep inside. We're living in seconds, and going into the teva is going into the sukkah. It's going into it's a timeless machine. It's a timeless machine, because Noach is the centerpiece of the universe. He's the center of the purpose. He's carrying the message of purpose, and he's put into the teva. So he was the only one that was holding it down, holding it together. Without him, would be like lights out. There would be no purpose anymore. But the purpose was down here, and he was receiving that. He was receiving that. He was holding that in the teva. The teva is going inside. We're going into the oasis. We're going into the letters. We're going inside to what do I want? What's my will? But that's not where I want to go. That's not where I want to go. Which means that that on top of the water, it already happened. Everything that needs to happen already happened. Those deja vu moments that you have sometimes is because there is a part of you that knows, that is more connected, and already is more connected to the truth, and knows that it already happened. That everything is just playing out. That everything happens simultaneously. The past, present, and the future is all one. It's just the way we receive it in time and space. And the time and space, that how I receive it, is based on where do I live. I live in the second, or in the minute, or in the hour, or in the year. My goals, this is what keeps me going. What do I want? Where do I want to go? So my goals are connected to a steady flow. And when separation wants to give me the illusion and block it, I just see it for what it is. It's just air. It's just fluff. It's smoke. and I'm going back to my to what do I want, which is now it's being expressed in this goal. So the teva, going into the teva, entering in the inside of what it is that you want, not to get distracted in the head, going into that place of oneness, and that is changing the sukkah. That is changing the sukkah for what we're in Chodesh Cheshvan. It's it's getting real, which means that is that Geula is already here, Mashiach is already here, already happened. We're just trying to bring it down over here. I'm trying to bring it in. The question is not why isn't it happening. The question is what do I need to do to make it happen? What do I need to do to open ani mama b'mina shalema? Like if it's the basics. Meditate on it. Meditate on it and be misburdened. What does it mean ani mama b'mina shalema? What do you mean I believe that v'yisa Mashiach it's something that we say, because when we live in seconds, all we can do is say it. We can't really experience it, but that's the work in the seconds. At least I say it. That's also it's a level, which means that you're bringing it all the way down here, all the way to the bottom, to a place where all I can do is say it. I don't really understand, and I don't know what believing means. But the fact that you say it means that it's a part of the DNA. It's in there, and you just need to be present with that. That's what it means to be misboinen on it, to feel where is it coming from, that I believe in something. I believe that something is going to happen, like something that's going to connect the top and the bottom, the Shemaim and the Earth, something that's going to connect to make things that I can see. I don't want to say the word make things better, because I'm not supposed to say that when Mashiach comes things are going to get better. I'm not supposed to say that somehow, because I guess we're still going to have to figure out the Moshe Mashiach. It's a process, but at least if you can see and you can understand what's happening, and you're not living in the second anymore. That removes all the pain, and this is what we need to do to evaporate and remove the clipper, because they're doing everything in their power to keep this a certain reality going by raising the bar on lower vibrations, on negativity and killings and whatever else is happening, stress, all types of the pottery reality that keeps this thing going, which means technically speaking it long died. Sometimes a star, we still see it, but it went out 1,000 years ago. It just takes time for the light to travel, which means that the star of this body already went out. It already happened. It's already here. It's just that while the time is traveling, while we're living in the second, he's doing everything in his power to keep that reality, to keep that chomer. He's just holding on to it. He's holding on to it, really holding on to it, because a he doesn't want to lose control. He wants to be in power, and B, because he really doesn't know anything else. He really does not have that, doesn't know what means emunah, doesn't know what it means believe. He believes, but his belief is what creates exactly what it's creating here. And then if you believe, you start believing from this vibration, from a place of choosing, having tapping into the koyach of choosing bechira, of choosing emunah, what type of reality is that going to create? And that vibration cancels out all the other vibrations. So understanding that we're different characters, we're different, we keep changing, we're just stepping into that space, and the sukkah ultimately is created by what I want. What type of light do I send out? Like a laser, like a projecting light that shines onto the schach, onto your makav, onto the screen of how you view things. Right? We see our life on a screen. Whatever it is, your work, your relationship, you're seeing it on a screen. It looks like your husband, looks like your wife, it looks like your kids, but it's showing up on the screen. So based on what I project, that's what I'm going to see. And at that point, these screens that are showing me what's going on, that's my creation, because they can only be, if I created it, they can only be as good as I am. However I'm mashpia, that's how I see it. but we're limited. But being in the sukkah, changing my projection, that changes the what we see on the screen. It changes the reality. So that is the boil teva, entering the teva, entering the space. That's what it's in English, teva, the space, entering the letter, entering the incubator of this very powerful, like a ship that was holding him for the whole world was in there. The whole that thing that's a thought, and it's just it takes up maybe one megabyte up there when it's in the Nakuda and Atzilus, because it's nothing, it's just one thought. When this thing comes in all the way down here, it takes up a lot of space. One body organ to redo. They once tried it with one of the body parts, and it took up five floors to imitate the digestive system, whatever it was. So Noach is sitting with that. He imitated that. He was holding down every single piece in the teva was a receiver holding down a mission, a purpose. Animals, kosher, non-kosher, everything was in there. They were holding on to the godly intention of why he wants world. So it was a different. It was a high. It was a different Indian over there. So it was like a sukkah. It was like a sukkah because where are we taking this from, right? Why we're just dreaming with fantasy world. The Baal Shem Tov talks about it. He goes on and on, 128 oasis about Boil Teva, how we entering in the Teva, and all the Hasidic Yishurim are busy with that Tzoyer, Tzara, Ratza. It's massive movement around the Teva. That entering in the letter, which is the letters have a power, they have a koyach, they carry a message. The letter is where the light jumps on, where the light hops over or takes on the space, which is when it's a mezuzah, it rests in that. The light is present over there, so you can have a consistent message of oneness, of yichid, of agdus, constantly reminding me Hashem Echad, Shakai, that it's Malchus Shakai, and there is it brings that vibration into the house of constantly sending a message of we're good, oneness, everything is the Eibishter is everywhere, everything is here, and it's a reminder uh, to take us into behind the scene of what the letters of my life are allowing making me show up in. So we have the letters, the actual alphabets, and then we have the letters on once the alphabets are in the tziruf, how they show up, and they show up the movie that I'm watching, that I'm living in my life. And sometimes it's harsh characters, and it hurts, and it's almost like it's all made out of rock, and it just scrapes the heart, the chest, it scrapes the chest. And we need to soften those letters now, so we understand that we need to enter the letter. By entering into the letter, we can start changing the tziruf and ultimately changing the shape and the material and the chaymer, the element of what my life looks like, what is being played out on. Is the light jumping off it, or is it a steady flow? Is it connected to Malchus Shaka? Is it connected to the Shema Yisrael Ve'ahavta, tapping into my love, that I'm just grateful for for being here, to give him the opportunity to make change, for being listened to. Somebody believed in me. Somebody believed in all of me, in all of us, in all of you. Somebody believes that you can get the job done, that you're not going to get distracted, and even if you will, you're strong enough to dig for meaning and the truth, your truth, because if we believe in our truth, then all the clicks are in place. Yeah, I'm working on it, right? That's what it is. We're not in our truth yet, but at least when we enter the teva, we get to know the truth. and that's enough. First, we need to know the truth. Once we know the truth, we already get creative as to how to act out. Remember, um, the biggest breakthrough is to know what question to ask. Yeah, I sometimes realize 10 years later, like, yeah, I can just ask this question. I can get, if I get the answer to this question, then I get it, while being in the confusion and not even knowing what, asking the wrong questions or the right question at the time, but not the question that aligns with the truth, with the teva, by being real with yourself, entering in your space. I don't remember if I already said it or not. So, we're entering in the winter, we're entering into hibernation, going into uh, the amazing days of and nights of the winter, where it's just it's cold and it's time with self. Self doesn't mean by yourself. Self can mean with other people too, but being with self, being focused on planting the seeds. Yum bum 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 bum. Yeah, neshama, fine. And to the letter, the teva is that and the other. Very, very strong, strong. Nitzar talks about it. Living. What space are you living in? Like, how? What is time? What is time? Is time in my clock that every second that clicks, is that my time, or is time on my goals and my accomplishments? That's my time, because that is nitzchi. That's there forever. There is a part of it. There's a piece within us. There's a part of us that's going to die. But then there's a part of us that's always been here. It's always going to be here. That is it. That's the das. That's the knowing yourself. It's always here. It's ancient. It's the more you go deeper with it, you're finding that we're all connected. We're all connected. Over here we need to speak. We have the malchus, and then in other space we feel the will, and then other space we just from from what's being said, just going into the feeling of it, the what am I experiencing? That is key, because to do the other way, the avoid of breaking every bone in your body, that is not for this generation. Not because we're weak, it's just because that's not where it's at. That was done already. The tzaddikim already did that work. Our bones were already broken. The chemer was already broken. Now it's to go into go into the nefesh, go into the feelings, going into the vibration, entering in the space of Gula. Have an awesome Shabbos, and yeah, Simcha. Amazing times are coming.